This episode is packed to the brim with music analysis and some might say the amorous aspect of life.
Ooh, that's because we're talking about Janelle Monáe's 2018 album, Dirty Computer.
And Marcy talks about getting a little sticky with it online in people's DMs.
That's right. And AP talks about being the biggest virgin of all time.
Please give it a listen and give us 5 stars, a follow, share with the people that you love, share it with the people that you don't even know. Go to your phone right now, copy the Apple podcast link, and send it to maybe the last 10 people you texted.
Yeah, it's the new chain text. If you don't send this to 10 people, a Dovewhether monster will greet you under your bed. So you better do it right now.
And you don't want that. You want to have a good time. And that's why you're listening to this podcast. Thank you so much.
Dovewhether.
I dressed in all white today because it's the first episode of spring and I wanted to dress virginal.
Wow. So you're embracing that Volcel lifestyle.
I'm embracing purity. How about I'm embracing cleanliness. Or check this out. Maybe I'm just trying to catch the eye of someone that's like, ooh, is that a person dressed perfectly for a cult meeting?
Yeah, I guess it's giving the cult in The Leftovers, the death cult.
And I am like ventriloquizing right now. I am actually not speaking. This is not AP. Your number one dove. Your lovey-dovey dove.
Well, this is Marcy, your letter A dove. I'm not being controlled by anyone. Who are you being controlled by?
Know me.
Know me. Why are you controlling AP?
We've never confronted this, but it is strange that we're the doves and there is this cat that would absolutely end their lives if she could.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the magical things about Nomi is that she hasn't ended our lives. The fact that a cat can coexist with 2 doves, that gives me hope. Who needs Hopecast when we just have that?
And this is Dovewhether. Welcome to the show, y'all.
Welcome.
Yeah, this is the first episode of spring, and I am virginal, both of mind, spirit, and body.
Well, I'm not wearing all white, which must mean that I'm not virginal. And also, this being the first episode of spring is interesting because I feel like Chicago weather has been so up and down lately that I'm like, what even is spring?
This is how you know we're in our 30s. We're going to talk about the weather for a little bit.
Yeah. We're really putting the weather in Dovewhether.
Yeah, we're in the wrong jacket season. Oh, do I wear a jacket in the morning to feel warm, or do I wear one for the evening when it's cold again because I have to take it off in the sunlight?
This is why working from home pays off. Is that I go outside for my walk and I'm back in a half hour.
This is also why just having a poncho works. You don't have to worry about it. You could flop it over your shoulder and you're ready for a saloon or a gunfight.
Just good luck making that look fashionable. I mean, the main time I've seen ponchos was at Pitchfork Festival, RIP, with everyone wearing their ponchos. And yeah, that was not the part that they took lots of photographs of.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help but feel like I have pulled off a poncho and you just are ignoring me.
I mean, I can see you pulling off a poncho.
You're definitely bringing a lot of satyr energy to my virginal energy. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I like that.
Well, virgins usually aren't the ones who get to decide the societal order. The virgins are kind of at the bottom. At least that's how it was in high school TV shows and movies.
Yeah, I mean, I should have worn yellow on my jacket, my wrong jacket.
Because of Coldplay, your favorite band.
because it's cold in the morning and I play basketball in the evening.
Yeah, you don't want anyone running over you. I mean, it makes sense when you're biking, wear bright colors. But when you're playing basketball, I don't know. March Madness, though.
I'm having March Madness the way I don't know how to dress for this weather. Am I right? Am I right?
Yeah, your bracket's so busted, you're wearing all white.
What are we talking about today?
We are talking about Janelle Monáe. We are talking about Dirty Computer, the album from 2018.
Keep those dirty minds dirty because we're about to get this computer dirty.
Exactly. And this is the second or third, depending on which episode you're listening to, of the It miniseries.
It.
And yeah, we're talking about how Dirty Computer relates. And I'm excited because there are some songs that reference the end of the world. And Janelle Monáe has a very different way of reacting than the characters in a Greg Araki movie.
Yeah, Janelle Monáe is very interested in the texture of the end of the world and how that relates to the carnal pleasure. Ooh,
yeah.
And it's primavera, and it's the virginal primavera, and let's just say, Janelle Monáe, what's up?
Yeah, so
I'm clean.
Oh, okay. I think Janelle Monáe. Look, I love you, but I don't think you're at Janelle Monáe's level. Janelle Monáe is a supernova. We're not quite supernova level yet.
Okay.
Also, I root for Janelle Monáe to have explicitly queer relationships. Which I guess
What am I?
I guess so. Okay.
What am I if not a queer relationship?
I root for Janelle Monáe to date she, hers, they, thems, and everything in that general area.
You're placing the ABCD onto Janelle Monáe.
Look, all I'm saying is that I don't want Janelle Monáe to be another person who, it's like, oh, I'm queer. I'm just going to have a boyfriend, though. And I'm still queer. I'm still valid, but...
Okay, so you want the opposite for me, though, right? You want me to be queer and have a boyfriend, right?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
2 virginal boyfriends.
Yeah, you two can get your promise rings and your ants will be...
Whoa, this is closer to nature. I ain't talking about no Christ on a cross here. And yeah, Easter's coming up, but I ain't talking that.
Well, the end of the world, that's when you can get married to your boyfriend and then you can finally stop being a virgin.
This is how Marcy treats me literally every time I walk in after she kicks my shins. That's a humiliation ritual that she devised months ago. I then proceed to hear, oh, you ain't got no boyfriend. Oh, you ain't got no girlfriend. Oh, you ain't got no they them partner. And then she pushes me to the ground and 6 know me onto me.
Look, I am happy for you that you can find happiness while being single. It's
the shade. Well, I'm wearing all white right now, so check this out. No shade on me. I reflect light right now.
Speaking of people who reflect light, I want to hear about since you're not going to have a romantic relationship with Janelle Monáe anytime soon, I want to hear about your relationship with Janelle Monáe's art.
Incredible. It's an incredible album. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say it up top. 2018 was quite a year. And you know what? It was capped with Janelle Monáe bringing in a very beautiful album that is layered. There's so many layers to this. Mm-hmm. It's a soft album. It's such an easy album to listen to. There's no hard edge to this outside of the one that you have to read in the literature of mm-hmm. this.
Yeah. So was this an album that you listened to in 2018?
No.
Okay. Because I was a Janelle Monáe fan before this album. I believe I became a fan in between the first and second album, and then I was ready for Dirty Computer when it came out. So much so that I ended up seeing Janelle Monáe at the Chicago Theater and had a very good time there.
And I assume you fell in love with them and you asked them out because they would only be in love with she, her, right?
Well, this was in the before times, before I had self-actualized as a trans person. So I knew that I wasn't in the same league as Janelle Monáe. So yeah. Honestly, I'm still not. I see. I'm humble.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Janelle Monáe is over there talking to Lucy Dacus about time traveling in order to see David Bowie. So until I can start time traveling, I'm not going to try to shoot my shot with Janelle Monáe.
Okay. I think your partner might have something to say about that, but okay.
No, I mean, she would understand. Like, her reaction to we watched that interview together, and she was like, there are some celebrities who I would be able to talk to. Not Janelle Monáe. I just find that strange. So,
okay. So this album is about 50 minutes long, and we're not going to cover every song.
Yeah.
We do want to cover a handful, and the first one we're going to cover is the first one, Dirty Computer. Mm-hmm. Dirty Computer really sets the tone for the entirety of the album. It's pro-sex. It is very the blackness of Janelle Monáe is very upfront. There is this commentary of the body as a computer and what it means both to be break and for the the loving extremities of that as well.
Yeah, I think I definitely. Oftentimes when I'm listening to this album, I'm just loving how it sounds. And then I think there's multiple layers, as you reference, where she is where Janelle Monáe, they are kind of talking about the digital aspect. And this song is pretty short. It's kind of like an intro. And I had forgotten that Brian Wilson was involved. And I think that it's just a really good way of kicking it off. And then I like the way it transitions to the next song where it goes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that's why you have Brian Wilson to start. Brian Wilson is great with mouth sounds.
Yeah. And I remember, so there was a movie that was paired with this that kind of consisted of a lot of Janelle Monáe's music videos. And I think it was a good pairing of kind of combining multiple types of media and kind of diving more into the of what Janelle Monáe's vision was. I think at the time there were some comparisons to Black Mirror, another piece of art that kind of the joke is, what if phones too bad or something like that.
What if?
Yeah. What if phones but bad?
Yeah. What if? What if phones but good? Honestly, I think we've been living on the inverse.
Yeah.
This song also provides the start to generally the kind of existentialist bent to the whole album. Mm-hmm. But I say existential as in it's dealing with large topics. Mm-hmm. This album is ultimately optimistic.
Yes.
It's optimistic both of the self, of the computer. The phone is not mentioned once. But it's optimistic also of the relationship in between people. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very sweet.
Yeah.
And I think sonically that is hit in every single song as well, in the way that everything sounds so soft and light and airy. Stevie Wonder was a big influence in this, and he is also in this album, so it makes sense. And Prince was in very much the same way, very a big influence in this too.
Yeah, and I think there's definitely the sweetness to this album that I think makes it very easy to listen to it multiple times in a short period of time. And Janelle Monáe has kind of dealt with some of these themes before, the arch android. And I think that they're good at kind of drawing the theme throughout an album without making it feel too heavy-handed.
It's a very light hand. Mm-hmm. They are bringing a very light hand to the Afrofuturism that they kind of inhabit and promote. It's very nice. It's very nice.
So I want to move us along to the second song, which is Crazy Classic Life, because this is the one where I think we really nail the connection to the It miniseries, because Janelle sings, I want a crazy classic life. So if the world should end tonight, I had a crazy classic life. So basically, Janelle, if the world does end, they'll be ready because they've already had this amazing life. Janelle's already living life to the fullest. So, it's not like some people who are waiting for it to happen and then they can do what they finally wanted to do. Janelle's already doing what they want to do.
Janelle understands that there is a before, during, and after to all. And they are not waiting for it. They're not waiting for the after. And I like that.
Yeah.
When they were writing this, performing this, creating this, they were in their early 30s, which I think a lot of people, especially homosexuals, think after 30, life is over, But the truth is, that's just American society and the worship of youth, as if 30 isn't young. But I like, as someone who wants to party, who wants to live it up, who wants to be there on the dance floor all night, I like that. I like that they're we're here to have a good time.
Yeah. And I think, Janelle is so sexy, and that really came out especially in the latest album, which honestly is my least favorite Janelle Monáe album, but I still think it's good. Which is the album. I thought I had this pulled up. Cut out this part too.
I'll cut you.
The Age of Pleasure, which I think that album, a lot of it is about sex, and there are songs about sex in Dirty Computer, but I think that Janelle really expanded it on that in The Age of Pleasure. But I kind of like this combination of embracing technology and embracing sex. I think in a lot of ways, technology has gotten more dystopian in the last 10 years. I mean, Janelle didn't have to deal with AI slop.
No.
There's definitely, I don't want to paint a too rosy picture of oh yeah, technology was all good 10 years ago. Because, obviously, we had drone strikes. We had people's identities being stolen.
We had algorithms.
Yeah. So it's not like things were perfect, but I don't think that means that necessarily all art about technology has to be pessimistic. And I do want to bring in a song that we should have brought in maybe a little bit earlier, but it's not too late. Fuck My Computer by Ninajirachi. Because you pointed this out to me.
Yeah. So Ninajirachi is an Australian DJ producer who had a very big debut with the album I Love My Computer, released in 2025, when she was about 25. And the album's good. Definitely go listen to that. Listen to both of these albums. I would say that Nina is interested in seeing technology not as a form of liberation or even as a form of the self, but it's almost inseparable from the self. Being 25 and growing up with the internet, and she grew up in a small town outside of Sydney, so her whole life used to be the computer. She has this song called
Fuck My Computer,
which, if you read it, if you do a close reading of it, it is like, hey, I want to be my computer. I want my computer to be me also. Not in a like not in a transhumanist sense, but in the way that there is a dysfunction within the separation of the object and the self. And I find that very interesting because that is not how Janelle Monáe ever approaches the concept of the computer in Dirty Computer.
Yeah. So I hadn't heard the song before, but I like it. And it definitely makes me want to listen to the rest of the album, which we will get to another song by this artist soon. But yeah, it kind of definitely, it's very much I'm horny for my computer vibes. Like at first I was like, is this song saying I hate my computer, fuck it? Or is it saying I want to have sex with my computer? And it seems like it's the latter. And I was kind of at first reading for the first interpretation because you're like, oh, this, if you compare these two, Nina is very pessimistic while you compare it to the Janelle optimism. And yeah, there definitely is some of this pessimism. And I think that kind of this generational
pessimism
divide
comes from the separation of the self and the computer. It's not I hate the computer. It's I hate that I'm not the computer. Mm-hmm. When Nina's singing about wanting to fuck the computer, it is from a place of it being the only thing that understands her and can say her name in the proper way that she would want. Mm-hmm. It's a pessimism of never being able to cross that distance in between the self and the computer.
Yeah. So I think that Janelle Monáe trying to draw the line between these two albums, like Janelle Monáe, a little bit older than us, and was around our age when they wrote Dirty Computer. And then you have Ninajirachi, a bit younger than us, a bit more than a bit younger in my case. And yeah, it does make me wonder, like, what's going to be the Generation Alpha reaction technology?
I want to murder all computers. I don't know what a computer is.
Computers are my parents. I don't have human parents. What are you talking about?
Why can't I swipe on this screen?
Why is this screen my hands? The only conception of swiping I have is moving my hands.
Gen Alpha is like, I think the oldest Gen Alpha is only reaching 15, 16.
Nomi is Gen Alpha.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that why she's always like 6, 7?
I think so, yeah.
I wanted to like connect these two. Not entirely. Both of these exist for different reasons in different times and for different cultures. In crazy classic life, there's so many references to just being black. Mm-hmm. In Janelle Monáe being very happy and very excited to be black, mm-hmm. which is great. Like, it ends with some lines about that. The song ends by saying, "Remember when they told you I was too black for you? And now my black popping like a bra strap on you." Which is very funny.
Yeah, there's like a lot of references to how people have doubted her because she's black, or and a lot of Janelle really likes to highlight all the success that they've had and kind of contrast that with all the criticism that they've had, a lot of it being racist. And I think that I love when like talented people are able to just kind of stunt on people like that. I think Doechii has a new song recently that feels of that ilk, and I think especially when black artists do this, because of all the history of oppression, it like hits home even more because of that.
It's just unapologetic. Mm-hmm. There is no equivocation either. it is just Janelle Monáe and other artists like Doechii or Big X the Plug, and so many more. I even going back to Sly Johnson, who is a singer from the 60s, singing about concrete reservations, and the song "Is It Because I'm Black?" Like, there is a long history here of that. And I like it. I like it that it's present here and it has transmuted into the newfound tech that produces the imagination of the future. And when we're talking about it, and I talk about the separation of Nina and the computer and how Janelle is different than that, I think like Janelle Monáe is not walking around with some separation anxiety or some like distress because she isn't the computer. She's very happy to coexist with the computer and both use it as a metaphor for herself and the grander concept that she is singing about, and she wants to celebrate that.
Yeah, and I think like it's telling looking at the lyrics that start with, "You told us we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, among those life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." And then talking about young, black, wild, and free, basically like taking this famous American iconography and connecting it to the realities of being black. And Janelle does this multiple times throughout this album. As someone who was just in Philly, there was definitely this kind of weirdness of like, okay, I'm seeing the Liberty Bell. There's a lot about like how it's been a symbol for liberty for a long time, and they even like go into how it's been used as a symbol by black people when like during the civil rights era, and by women when they were fighting for suffrage. And like, you know, if you read between the lines, you can be like, okay, yeah, like not everyone was free, but there's still like this thing where it's like America purports to be for about all these things, but in reality, it's not. And I like that Janelle Monáe kind of goes into this and in the album while still keeping it light. Like while you're listening to this, you're enjoying yourself because it's such a well produced.
It's
pop
dancey.
Song. Yeah,
it's exciting. You can both listen to it like I did, relaxing with a glass of wine, or at the club.
Yeah,
which I would also be at with a glass of wine. And Monáe, like I don't want to seem like I'm glazing Monáe too much for no reason. Monáe is someone who is about the same. They have similar politics to us. Mm-hmm. I couldn't find an in-depth study of Monáe's like politics per se, but what I can say is that they have been against the Trump administration since 2016. They have been releasing protest songs. They have been part of the larger movement for a long time, and it is very visible in the lyrics of this album. Everything from talking about grabbing pussies and what happens if that is done, to I think a very key phrase, which is "say her name." Mm-hmm. "Say her name" is connected to someone like Heather Heyer because of the Charlottesville attack by a neo-Nazi onto Heather Heyer. And before it was connected to Heather Heyer, it was about remembering black women who have been the subject of violence, like Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, and Janelle wrote a whole song about this called Hell You Talking About in 2015. And basically, it's a song that lists the names of African-American people who died, who were murdered by law enforcement or died because of racial violence. And it includes names like Eric Garner, Trayvon Martin, Freddie Gray, Sandra Bland, Michael Brown, and of course Emmett Till. And I think there's like an example. There's examples of Janelle Monáe kind of both walking the walk and talking the talk for a long time. Like the thing about kind of being on the internet for so long is I remember scraps of little things here and there, and I remember that Janelle Monáe has received some criticisms of like, not doing enough for social justice and like getting some things wrong. But I feel like, especially in this era of woke too, we gotta count Janelle Monáe on our side. I think like Janelle Monáe has like done things like for racial justice that I think are tangible.
In a way, this whole album is about Trump 1 and about the deceit of the American state onto just the common people, the proletariat. Mm-hmm. And like it's both visible in the music and the lyrics, and it's also in the history that like Janelle Monáe is like bringing into it, the musical history. It's also just so, as two people talking about this in 2026, I think we're primed to see and hear the things that Janelle's talking about and be taken back into a time where there wasn't so much backsliding in the culture and in the larger American state.
And I think it's interesting to revisit albums from Trump 1 era that are like contending with Trump 1, because like, there are elements that sometimes feel a bit cringy, because I think there's kind of this resistance sheen of like, oh, if we say Orange Man enough, we will win.
If we talk about the dang Cheeto in the White House.
Yeah, exactly. But I think at this point, I kind of have some nostalgia for this type of stuff, where I feel like we kind of oscillated from, oh, this music is part of the resistance, to, oh my gosh, I can't believe that we thought this was the resistance, to, you know what? It's okay to listen to some music and it's not going to necessarily like kill Trump or whatever, but like we can have a little bit of a cringe as a treat. And I think that because this album goes a little bit deeper than some of your like 2016 to 2019 music, I think, when I was listening to this, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I used to like this. So yeah.
And as an artist, they're making art, not a political revolution per se. And nothing in this album says, hey, this album is gonna flip the switch on class consciousness and everybody's gonna get crazy, classic, lively. And that's refreshing, because now there's absolutely a string of artists that are making music for the revolution or for the resistance that have a wide variety of quality. I think the best quality in that kind of genre right now is Kneecap. I used to think it was like Run the Jewels, but Run the Jewels, whatever. Now Kneecap on top. Everyone Irish. But Janelle Monáe is like bringing in so much fun in so many different ways. And because, we're talking Trump 1, sure. But there is no artist that I can think of that in one album could be a little resistance lib and incredibly pro-sex in the same album, let alone the same song like Janelle Monáe has.
Yeah, and I think that brings us to one of my favorite songs on this album, Screwed, featuring Zoe Kravitz. And I love that this song, it's kind of just being like, talking about sex in so many different places and being like, I want to have sex here, I want to have sex here. Let's get screwed. What do you think of this song?
This is one of my favorite songs in the album. I think my favorite one is Django Jane. But I only say that because it's a little more like dancey. At least dancey to me. Screwed, though, works in so many levels, both thematically, sonically, lyrically, and it's just cool. It's just a cool song. It's a cool song. Janelle Monáe does it so well. Zoe Kravitz comes in to like do a 1-2 beat down on my heart, and for me to be like flustered with both the amazement of both of their talent, and also both of their beauty. But and as the spring virgin, ready for sacrifice for the harvest to come, Zoe Kravitz or Janelle Monáe. It's great.
Yeah, I definitely listened to this song a lot when I was like putting on makeup for the first time and like getting ready to go to parties, and I was like, yeah, I want to get screwed too. So I think any song that's like where you get to just be like, yeah, I don't know, it's just such a beautiful song. And you know, there's also like a you know, kind of maybe a capitalist critique in there where it's like everything is about sex, except for, you know, well, actually let me redo this part and get it right. Where everything is sex except sex, which is power. You know, power, it's just sex. You screw me and I'll screw you too. So yeah, there's, you know, it's like we're getting a political lesson while we're getting horny.
Yeah, and as I was reading the lyrics here, I was taking a little back about like the power dynamic and sex conflagration here, because I kind of don't like that. I don't think sex is about power. I think sex is just an activity that people do. I think power is not an activity that people do, but in fact the use of your own will onto others. And I kind of don't like it.
I think part of it is that when you think about power dynamics and sex, you know, like there's like multiple TV shows that just came out about like college professors who have sex with people who they show them. I haven't seen them. I just listened to podcasts about them. There's like Rooster with Steve Carell, and there's some show with Rachel Weisz. And you know, so like there's a lot of discourse happening now about like, oh yeah, you know, these teachers shouldn't have sex with students. And oh yeah, there's also Daniel Biss. Did you see that on election day that something came out about him having sex with a student?
Yo.
Yeah,
I wouldn't get it past them. APAC Bliss?
Yeah. Unfortunately, that didn't break early enough to affect him in a major way. He still won, but
a congressperson being a weird sex freak. No.
Yeah, and of course there are people in the comments who were being like, well, you know, she wasn't his student when they had sex. Oh, and also, by the way, he admitted it. Like, yeah, like he was like, I had an inappropriate relationship and broke it off after. Or apparently, maybe they didn't have sex, but they did go on dates.
He said, I did have sexual relations with that woman. That is, we're living it. We are living in the collapse, y'all.
Yeah. Biss campaign relationship with University of Chicago student in 2004 was ill-advised.
The second worst thing to happen in 2004. First, the invasion of Iraq, and then Daniel Bliss doing this.
Yeah. In 2004, when Daniel was 26, before he met his wife, she was a 20-year-old student. And of course, Daniel taught during his time as a postdoctoral instructor at the University of Chicago. After the course ended, Daniel and Dr. Watch's Press went on a handful of dates over the course of a few weeks. Daniel realized then, as he does now, that it was ill-advised, and he ended it.
This is coming directly from which publication?
Oh, this is on Evanston Roundtable.
Okay. Well, Daniel Bliss, I hope the millions of dollars you got from APAC is enough to buy the soap, to clean your dirty past and become virginally white like me.
Yeah, that race was very weird because like Laura Fine was the APAC candidate, but APAC was doing all kinds of weird things. They were throwing money at like pro-Palestinian candidates in order to split the vote so that Kat wouldn't win.
They're doing the thing that is a joke online, a joke and constant like bickering online. I don't. There's no real humor in it, which is like leftist infighting, which is like. Look, I'm not gonna get into it, right? I would rather talk about how virginal and horny I am for Janelle Monáe than talk about something as boring as leftist infighting. But APAC did drop a new tactic, and and it seemed like it worked. And of course, that is not the entirety of why, but yeah, we're living in some weird times.
Absolutely.
Monáe sang about that in the song Screwed. They said, "You fucked the world up now, we'll fuck it all back down."
Yeah, absolutely.
Which to me, I think fits directly into the It miniseries.
Say more.
The It is not just about consequences for actions. It's about not waiting for the consequences to happen. It's about being an actual member of the change. And although Monáe is singing about fucking, it's not exactly like revolutionary. What it is being an active participant. Like what I would say is like there are forces outside of one's control making effort to destroy the world. They are doing it openly, flamboyantly, with no regret and in your face. Monáe just accepts it is happening. They move forward into the after. Fucking is part of the solution because that is a function of consent or creative force versus destructive force. I mean, this theme goes into it further with the like what we talked about in the bridge, which is like everything is sex. Everything is sex except sex, which is power and so on. Which although like I might not like, but thematically it fits perfectly into this idea that Monáe and all those that are like Monáe are part of the solution, which is to remove the previous status quo through action. In this case, intercourse. But as the virginal primavera princess, I wouldn't know about that.
Yeah, you have no idea. You're just like, yeah, sex hypothetically sounds good. I'm not going to participate in myself, but yeah, you're like, you go them. Yeah, I think I love the idea of having sex being the solution. Because I think oftentimes it feels like we don't have power. Speaking of power, we don't like have power. Like collectively, we know we have power as the working class, but at the same time, unfortunately, none of us can stop Trump and Israel from bombing Iran. And sometimes you just have to like go have sex about it. You know, in your case, all you can do is go shake your ass on the dance floor about it because you're a virgin, but. You know, Janelle's on a higher level than you, and that's okay.
She's fucking in a way that I ain't never even contemplated. She's fucking in a world healing way.
Ooh, that's impressive. Well,
I said she right there, but listener, we spent a good amount of time trying to figure out if they, them, or she, her were acceptable. And check this out. Yes.
The answer is both. So yeah, you said Django Jane is maybe your favorite song on this album, which I want to hear more about because I think this is a song I like, but I would say maybe not my favorite. I remember when the song came out, some people were like, oh, you know, Janelle, maybe you should stick to singing. You're not as good at rapping, which, you know, I think is a little bit glib, but I think the song has some really interesting ideas in it. And I do love the part where Janelle's like, yep, got an Oscar, like basically just like kind of being like, this is where I'm at with an EGOT, and fuck you if you think that I'm not going to get an EGOT. I do love that part, and I do kind of love the parts where Janelle is like talking about the Black experience and talking about like how that kind of fits into the current political context. But you said it's one of your favorites, so I want to hear from you.
It's just so braggadocious.
Yeah.
And they them deserve it. Like truly like the first time Janelle Monáe popped into my life was in the song We Are Young by Fun. And since then I have listened to much of their music, and they have been prolific, they have been critically acclaimed, they've been popping their pussy and popping the charts, and they deserve it because it's truly like, by this point, keep in mind they were in their early 30s, but by this point they had already made a name for themselves as a strong creative. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm here with you. You deserve this and more.
Yeah. And I love that Janelle shouts out their acting accolades, because I think Janelle's in some ways underrated as an actor. I really liked Hidden Figures and Janelle's performance in that. I think it's just a lot of fun. And I know that some people are like, oh yeah, Glass Onion, not one of the better Rian Johnson movies.
Yeah, that's all on Ryan. Like, and Monáe was not part of the creative side of that.
Yeah, I think Janelle's a lot of fun in that. To talk about, Michael B. Jordan just won Best Actor for playing multiple characters, and Janelle Monáe did a pretty damn good job in that movie too. So
yeah,
I think Janelle is like a multi-talented artist who can excel in multiple different areas. It just makes Janelle someone who, whenever they pop up in something, I'm like, yes.
I agree. It just shows that like they're a massive talent, a talent that can't be described in simple terms, including gendered terms.
Yeah, I also want to shout out that in this song, Janelle references one of my favorite songs from another album, Wonderland. That song is a fucking bop. If you haven't heard that song, pause this, put it on right now. I love that song.
And Wonderland is more than just a song. It's also like the creative, like, collective that Janelle Monáe started with the producers of this, Roman Gain Arthur and Nate Rocket Wonder. And like the three of them like did this work, and they've been working together. It is a collective effort. Monáe might have be a giant talent, but without the three forces, the three creative forces that work collectively, the whole would not be the same.
And that gets into one of our favorite topics on this show, which is that the collective is stronger than the individual. Even someone like Janelle, who is an amazing talent, can't create all this art on their own. So yeah, the revolution, it's not going to just be one person. It's going to be all of us together.
This is one I want to bring in the other song by Ninajirachi, Delete, which is a much different song. It's actually a song about self-consciousness. It's about being a little shy. It's about not taking risks. The song textually is about Instagram stories and the use of Instagram stories as a way to lure a romantic partner or to catch the attention of someone you have a crush on. It is nothing about bragging or getting down and dirty sexual style with someone that you love. And I find that very interesting. I'll just say here that I find it interesting because of the age difference.
Yeah, I think I did relate to this song in some ways, in that I think there was a time in my life where I was using social media, not necessarily like as a dating app, but as a way to get to know people who eventually I would develop crushes on. And then I was like, oh, damn, I need to start making myself attractive to people. There's kind of two eras in this for me. There's like my Twitter era, where there are a few people who I definitely had crushes on, who I was in the DMs with. And then there's my Instagram era, which is post-transition. And that was when I was like, oh, I need to be hot online. I need to I never really got into the thirst trap game in a major way, but there definitely were a few times where I posted something and I was hoping to get a few clicks. And I feel like I'm kind of beyond that now that I have a girlfriend, and now that I kind of don't really use social media as much. I still scroll it, but I don't really post. Like, even you post on social media more than me, and you're someone who doesn't relate to this song in a major way at all.
And I don't really like posting online.
Yeah.
TBH.
But yeah, I think this song definitely is interesting because I think I often loved following people who act like Ninajirachi does here, of kind of like posting thirst traps, and it's like you follow them and you know that the thirst traps aren't necessarily for you, but you're like, okay, first of all, I love the thirst traps. Second of all, I'm invested in whether or not this is actually going to work. And oftentimes it can have like a real up and down roller coaster thread, where it's like they get with someone, it's so good, and then in a month they're broken up. And yeah, it's like you said, like technology can in some ways make it easier to connect with people, but those connections aren't secure. They're much more anxious.
It's also a generational shift. Nina singing from the POV of a generation that is more isolated, less interested in personal connections outside of the internet. Unlike Monáe, who did live before the internet was so proliferized. And deletion is about being an individual. And being so individual, so atomized that the metaphor becomes the Instagram story, which is ephemeral, which is about, which is indirect also, and it is separated from the greater whole. It is the interest of the other, sure, but not the greater whole.
Wow.
As the virginal Primavera princess, I'm not interested in the greater whole either. But what I can say is that Janelle Monáe, through the whole Dirty Computer, is always grasping at the larger concepts of the position that they have within this song, within the culture, within the political system that exists, and also truly just about how what it means to fuck and what it means to be sexually active with people in a place where you feel confident and comforted by it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely telling that Janelle is able to create a song like Screwed about wanting to be fucked in all of these different places outside, where even in an album called Dirty Computer that is so much about technology, there can be an ode to actual carnal sex. While, in these two songs by Ninajirachi, it's like, I want to fuck my computer, and I'm going to post on my computer in order to try to get some sex. Is that actually going to pan out? Probably not. Instead, I'm going to get self-conscious about it and delete it. And I think that kind of gets into the generational divide that you're talking about, where Janelle Monáe uses technology as a tool and embraces it in many ways, but is still able to escape it and, get down.
It's useful to see this shift in the approach of technology within the personal life of someone. And I don't know where things are going. I described Dirty Computer as a optimistic point of view of technology, and I love my computer as a more pessimistic one. And those are just my phrases. Those are just the wording that I have. But like individually, as a person, I am a tech pessimist. I think the internet, I think computers, and I think more computerized systems are not going to benefit me. And they're not going to benefit the people that I know or the people within my class. And I'm scared. I'm scared of that. I don't know what Monáe sees in the computer and sees within like a computerized system that like provides that sense of connection. It's almost a religious connection. In the album, I think there are maybe like upwards of 10 references to God. And Monáe is constantly talking about their religious upbringing. And so that might be a source of it. But what I know is that I fit closer to Nina as someone who sees this separation of the self and the computer as a bad thing, but not because I want to be a computer or I want to be digitized, but because I am afraid that we're going to hit a time where being computerized is way more beneficial than not. And I don't think I'm ready for that.
Yeah. And I think I want to bring in a story that dropped today about Sora. And, this is a tool that was being used to create AI slop by movie studios, and about how Sora is going to the grave. And
Reposo. Oh!
Yep. OpenAI and Sora are no more. Sora, you should stick to Kingdom Hearts, honestly. But so I think that, there's some good signs, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of just a drop in the bucket compared to everything that's happening now. It's becoming so hard to escape AI. It's everywhere, and I'm not a fan of that. I think I would probably call myself technology pessimistic in some ways. It's tough because technically, I am a tech worker.
A trans girl in tech? I ain't never heard that one.
And it's like, without tech, you wouldn't be hearing this right now. It's like, without tech,
thank you for listening.
There's no podcasts. And I have made really good friends because of the internet. So it's like, it's a tricky thing. But at the same time, I think I've become more pessimistic about tech, I would say, in the last 4 years. And I'm hoping that my optimism can come back. I'm hoping that, the multiracial working class can grasp the reins of technology and get it away from the billionaires and the pedophiles and the capitalists. But
which feels like we could do. Honestly, there's like way more of us than there are of them.
Yeah, but in some ways I haven't read the Epstein files. I haven't read everything that's come out, but I've seen people talk about it, and it seems like they've been running some rings around us in the ways that they've been manipulating things in their favor. I do want to shout out Pynk, featuring another canceled queen, Grimes, because this is a song that received some pushback in 2018 for not being trans inclusive, because this is a song about pussy. And it's like,
and we're pro pussy here.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people interpreted it as like, inside we're all just pink, and it's like, okay, I get it. I get as a trans person who did not have a pussy, I related to that critique to a certain extent. Now I do have a pussy. And I'm not going to suddenly say, oh, now, like, I'm abandoning a large swath of my trans comrades. But I am going to say that I did feel a lot of euphoria when I listened to the song for the first time post-surgery.
Nice.
And, yeah, I think it's a type of thing where Janelle Monáe, I think over time, has kind of, especially as they've been on their own journey, discovering their gender, which doesn't fit in the binary. I think that they've included more trans inclusive words when they speak, and I think it's okay to have a song about pussy. And I think part of this is that, like, after Trump won, there was a whole pussy hat women's march stuff, and a lot of that shit was kind of like, okay, this is a little bit much. Like, it does feel a little bit silly to link pussies with, like, resistance to Trump as the only thing, and, like, only having, like, reproductive justice signs. I mean, of course, they didn't even call it reproductive justice because that's where the intersectional part came in. Like, only being like, we're taking back our pussy power and leaving it there, no other analysis. I don't think that's what this song was. So I just want to give a shout out to that song, and yeah, I love it.
In the first Trump administration, the word pussy was so used. When I first heard this album, I literally focused in on some of the political language, including some of the lines where the word pussy pops up, with one of them being, if you try to grab my pussy cat, this pussy grab you back. Which is like a direct reference to Trump and
Grab
Billy
by the
bullshit.
pussy.
Yes. And I'm like, ugh. It took me right back to a time where that type of critique was actually being done by people instead of the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, CNN, CBS, every Republican, many Democrats are just kind of consolidating around the right-wing power that Trump has wielded for the last couple of years. And it blows that we live in this world right now.
Absolutely.
They fucked the world, and they fucked up the world, and we're gonna fuck it down.
Absolutely.
So yeah, both I Love the Computer and Dirty Computer are great albums. Definitely give them a listen to.
Yeah. Especially, we don't have time to fully get into it, but the last song in Dirty Computer, Americans, I think it's just a really fun song. And I like how, similarly to Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen, I'm sure it's been misinterpreted many times by people who are like, oh, I love America. Thank you for Janelle for talking about how much you love America and apple pie. But, if anyone actually listened to the full song, talking about how this is not my America until black people can come home from a police stop without being shot in the head. Like, if you actually listen to it, that there's like an actual political critique of America happening here. And I like that Janelle Monáe is able to make such a catchy song that also makes it clear that Janelle is fighting for an America that currently does not exist right now.
And you don't have to wait until that America arrives. You could be part of that change. And one aspect to that change is hope. And so let's talk about a little bit of hope, or really anything that's bringing some positive vibes to your life. Marcy, what's bringing you hope these days?
So I recently went to a wedding with my girlfriend in Philadelphia.
You were practicing sapphic love in the city of brotherly love?
Whoa. Really makes you think.
You could just tell me to fuck myself.
So basically, what's giving me hope is that this is a wedding that really honored the bringing together of different cultures. I'm not going to get too into the specifics, but I'll just say that both,
it was a Mexican and a Guatemalan that got married.
I'll just say that both Chinese American and Jewish American cultures were brought together in this wedding, and I love the way that both of the cultures were honored, the way that each of the families like showed love to each other. It was just really great to see. I think especially there's been so much hate lately. Just seeing something simple like love between two groups of people who wouldn't have met each other if it weren't for the bride and groom falling in love with each other. I think that's what gives me hope.
And it wouldn't happen without a multicultural society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. America as a melting pot, working the way it should be.
I mean, that's beautiful. I'm very happy that these two people are married. I'm happy for him. I think what's bringing me some hope these days is just my I've been learning a new dance style called Gabber.
Ooh.
Gabber is a European electronic dance style. And, I love dance. I truly do love dance. Not in a performative way, as in like to perform, but in a way of like just doing an activity. It's not exactly even my hobby. It is truly I want to fuck my dance styles. And like Gabber has just been a fun thing to learn. It's a lot of leg work. It's a lot of like bounciness. So like I actually connected a lot to like cumbia dance. And it's just been bringing me a lot of joy and a lot of hope.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah. I feel like you're the most passionate person I know about dance who isn't like a professional dancer. So I'm glad that your world is still expanding. And I unfortunately have to drop one really bad pun. Yo, gabber, gabber.
Gabber by the pussy.
And if you haven't turned off the podcast by now, then surely you must love us. And that means you should give us 5 stars.
5 stars. Give us a follow. Share.
We're Dovewhether on every platform, including
Instagram
and YouTube. I thought you were going to do that.
My brain literally stopped.
Yeah. See, you're used to being the one who prompts me at this part, but then I'm prompting you.
You could find us everywhere. Listener, you can find us everywhere, and including underneath your bed right now. Check right now. We're there. We're right there. And we're going to say goodbye.
Bye.